Yo, hey guys, SmallmouthCrush. If your tackle's a mess, if you have no idea where anything is, if you get out on the boat and you realize, hey, where's this bait? Or where's my hooks? Or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna share with you my exact system, my whole entire setup. And believe me, it's always changing. I'm always looking for new ways to improve upon organizing. And in this video, we're gonna go through it all. And it's gonna help you be way more efficient when you're on the water. I don't care if it's storing spinner baits, tungsten weights, hard baits, plastics. We're gonna get into it all. That's all coming up. Hey, here we are out in the garage. This is where all the magic happens. This is where everything has to be in order for me to be efficient out there. Now, this is gonna be a long video, and I'm also gonna take you and share with you how I actually store and travel with tackle. So if you're going to a fishing destination, or you're staying overnight, or you have a tournament, or you're on the road for a few days or even a couple weeks like myself oftentimes, it's going to really help you be more efficient and to make sure you have everything you need for those trips. And then we're also going to go out in the boat. Maybe not today since it's a little chilly out. It's going to warm up later this week. We're going to get out in the Camas and share with you how I have that system set in place as well. But right now I pretty much have everything in this garage. My boat is totally empty. I'm getting it all cleaned out. So here's one good thing about living up north. During the winter months, of course, we can still fish year round. I just choose not to at times. You know, sometimes 30 or 40 degree weather and blowing wind isn't as fun as it sounds. But don't get me wrong, there's still a good winter bite, especially on the Chesapeake Bay. But a lot of times it's nice to have that little break. Like if I live down south or in Texas or Florida or California, I mean, how do you guys get anything done? I'd be fishing all the time. But one good aspect of this is I'm actually able to take some time off every year, every season, and really dig into my tackle management system. So I'm always looking for new ways and how to improve upon my systems to be more efficient on the water. So one thing about my current situation is the garage. It's literally 24 feet by 12 feet wide. And there's now, I got my studio in here, I got my desk, I have my computers, I do my filming, my editing. And so I really have to make best use of all the space that I have in order to store everything. And so that's one of the reasons why I have to stay organized. If I had a big space, now I would never do this because mentally I still need to have things in order. But you could lay stuff out and kind of scatter things around and it wouldn't look like a cluster. But believe me, this place has looked like a hurricane has been through it many of times. And that's always an issue I have, is coming back from a trip and trying to sort out all the tackle that I use and putting it away, trying to be more efficient. One thing I do want to improve upon this year, my goal, because I am really thorough on my setup, is keeping it that way. Meaning I take out a crankbait, I fish with it, I make 2 casts, I don't get a bite, I change another, put another color on. You guys all been there. You're going through the rotation and you just throw them back on the boat, and next thing you know, a week goes by and you have a pile of baits with line on it. It's all tangled up, plastic stuck together, plastic colors are changing, like, you know, it's a mess. And so I really want to start being more proactive and taking that equipment out of the boat every trip and putting it back where it belongs. So that's my goal moving forward. So depending on the type of boat that you run and the storage system in the boat, that's going to determine a lot on how you're going to store your baits. So for me, for my Camas, I actually took out the stock system that came with it, and I put an AMPD marine system in it. And so every boat's different. How you have it configured is going to be a little bit different as well. So for me, the majority of the soft plastics that I use on a regular basis, I like to keep in a hard container. Now, of course, some of your super plastics like your Nico baits or your Z-Man products, you want to keep them in their bags that they come with, because once you start taking them out and you put them in other plastic containers, sometimes just the environment doesn't allow that to happen. And there's a few other ones that I do keep in the bag. So a lot of times Berkeley Power Bait or the Max Scent I'll keep in their own bags as well. So you just have to kind of decide which baits need to stay in the bags and which ones you can put in a hard container like this. So I have a bunch of 3700 style containers, and there's a lot of different brands out there. whatever you choose. I just like a standard 3700. Now, one thing I do, because I do fish a lot of largemouth and smallmouth bodies of water, sometimes I fish a body of water that has both, so I have to take both. But other times, like when I'm on the Chesapeake Bay, I'm really targeting largemouth for the most part. And so I'll have my smallmouth plastics in a 3700 plastic, and I'll also have my largemouth plastics in here. But what you'll notice is the blue handles are all my largemouth baits for the most part. And my 37 black handles are mostly smallmouth. So here are my smallmouth tubes. Here we have some suspended plastics that I'll use for smallmouth. So I can visually see that. Not only that, but I do take the time to label both sides of these boxes properly, so I know exactly what's in these containers when they're stored. So it just makes it easy when I'm packing up the boat and I know I'm just going to the Chesapeake. I only have to worry about the black handle boxes. Those are all smallmouth. I'm just focused on blue handles and what technique am I probably going to use for that trip. And I found over the years to really narrow my color choices down. You're going to see a lot of natural colors and a few different colors that work on my particular body of water. I'm not going to go with a green pumpkin with blue fleck and green fleck and then straight green pumpkin or green pumpkin with orange tips or all the crazy colors out there. There's just no way I can carry all that bait. So I'm very, very basic. So we'll take, for instance, my Senko box, right? This is my standard box that goes all over the country. Now, I broke it down even further. On the Chesapeake Bay, there's a lot of specific colors above and beyond the standard green pumpkin and black and blue. And so I have what we call Bay Senko box, which is full of colors that I have the most confidence in when I'm fishing that body of water. But if I'm just going on a random trip to a lake I'm not too familiar with, I'm going to grab this standard Senko box, which has my standard colors. And if we just open up, again, I can't go through all this, it's going to take forever. But I have my 5, 4s, 6 and 7 inch Senkos. Most of the time they're the green pumpkins. They're black and blue, maybe some straight black. Looks like some June bug in here. So I have them all put here in these trays, nice and neat and organized. And what's nice about this is I'll be able to see, okay, I'm going through a lot of black and blues today. Well, guess what? Over the shelf over here, I have bags of the standard colors that I use quite a bit. So I'm not going to run out. I already prepared during the off season to make sure I have enough bags to get me through the season. Very rarely, I shouldn't say that. I'm always buying tackle. That's not the right thing to say. Very, very rarely though, am I struggling to find a bait that I don't have mid-season, because I normally have a stockpile of them. So here we have small swim baits. Again, black handle, so I know it's mostly for smallmouth, although I ended up taking this quite a bit last year in my largemouth trips, because believe it or not, some big largemouth like little tiny 2.5 and 3 inch swim baits as well. But if you open it up, I have everything in this tray exactly how I want it. All the swim baits that I have the most confidence in. All the colors, a lot of 2.8 Kitex I see, bluegill flash, goby, rainbow shad, straight black. I have a lot of megabass hasdong shads. You'll notice I have some easy shiners by Kitex in this box also. I have some 3.5 tackle HD swim baits, which have a really unique roll. And I've actually been digging these for a number of years, kind of under the radar. I got some of the smaller true bass swim baits in here. The minnow, of course the spark shads in various colors that I use. So I have them all here, I'm ready to go. And it's a perfect setup, everything's nice and clean. So you might ask, does a lot of these plastics like get deformed in the storage containers? I have not found that with a lot of these baits. If they were, I would not be storing them this way. Your Kitex, your spark shads, your hasdongs, everything really seems to just hold shape and hold true regardless of me taking them out of the packages. When I do get outside here, I'm going to show you what do I do when I'm traveling for a couple of weeks and I know I'm in smallmouth country and I'm going to go through a bunch of swim baits. Well, that little tray of, there might be 25 swim baits in that little tray, but are they going to get me through, especially if I'm on a particular bite with that particular color? So I always want to make sure I have extras, and there's a unique way and a way I organize all that when I'm traveling too. So we are going to get into that, but let's move over a little bit to the hard baits in these 3700 style boxes as well. So there's a lot of great storage boxes out there. I like to keep everything the same, and so I had a lot of Bass Mafia boxes. I just stuck with that. So I go with the Bass Mafia boxes for my hard baits, and you're gonna see I have a box labeled miscellaneous crankbaits. So these are random crankbaits that I have a lot of confidence in that I know I need to carry with me at all times. So then I have another one just labeled Rapala. So I'm gonna run pretty much all my DT14s and below. There's some Shad Raps, some Fat Raps, there's a bunch of different Rapalas, and all the different colors that I use on a regular basis will be ready to go in this box also. Standard jerk baits, all the jerk baits that I use, I own way more than this, but I realized I can't bring them all. I'm not gonna have enough time to throw them all. I just stick with the reliables. And again, we could go on and on, you know, flat sides. I do keep all my spoons, blade baits in here, metal baits, silver buddies. Deal, square bill, deep cranks, so a lot of Series 5, a lot of Series 6s in here. Again, all the normal colors. Then I do have some random stuff. I have miscellaneous smallmouth crankbaits, so if I know I'm going to be up in some smallmouth waters and potentially throwing some crankbaits, I'm going to want to have these with me at all times. Got a whole box full of lipless for certain situations. Now, as much as I carry a lot of these liplesses, I'm only going to have a handful of a particular brand or color. So if we go in here, we got some Lucky Craft LV 500s, right? I only have probably two in this color, two in a natural, so like two in the natural color, two in a silver, two in a gold, stuff like that. And so I'll have more with me in the vehicle if I'm traveling, that if I lose some or if I get on a good bite, I just want to make sure I have some extras. So my football jigs also go in this box. All my hair goes in here. My flipping jigs and swim jigs go in this box. My frogs, all my frogs go in this box also. So the only deep box that I have this year is my topwater, because that makes up pretty much all the hard baits that float, right? So your Whopper Ploppers, your Sammies, your Super Spooks, and then also like my Pop Bars, my Ricos, walking baits, everything is in this box. And so I went with the bigger size box so I can carry, so I have them all with me. Because this is something that's really hard for me to leave one behind and not the other. A lot of times when you get on a topwater bite, it's really important to have a lot of different types of topwaters, because sometimes that bite dies, sometimes you get different water conditions, it gets slick calm, or you get a lot more wind, and so I like to change things up and have a lot of access to the different topwaters quickly. So here's how I actually carry my extras with me while I'm traveling. I put them all in these bags here, and I label everything. So this one's labeled deep crank. So if we open this up, I know what we're going to find. We're going to find another bag of Series 6s, and then the rest in here are Series 5s. And that's just my backup. So these are nice because I can throw them in a big plastic bin when I'm traveling, or when I get out in the truck, you'll actually see how I put these in the back of my pickup. Same thing with those Rapalas. You know, I might have only like 3 or 4 DT6s in Helsinki in that box up there, but if you're fishing some heavy cover and you're losing crankbaits left and right, and you're on the road, and I burn through 3 or 4 of those crankbaits, you know, I need a backup. So I turn to this bag, which is going to have a bunch of those standard colors that I use, and I just refill those boxes as needed. Of course, we got the lipless, so I have a bunch. I could label like jerk baits. All the hard baits are in these containers, and I keep them very well organized. So for instance, Yozuri, right? Love Yozuri liplesses. The extras are all in there. So everything's in individual bags. Like here's all my extra Excaliburs, size 50. They'll be in this bag. There's some bigger Excaliburs in there. So I have everything at my fingertips as needed. I also utilize some type of bigger plastic zipper bag. Bass Mafia makes some good ones. I have some other options here that I'll show you in this video. But this bag is just my extra Beast Coast open water sniper jigs. I throw a lot of these jigs for smallmouth, and of course I'm in some crazy conditions, right? Some good chunk rock and just snaggy areas. So I do lose a lot of jigs, and so I need to have a backup. That little box back there is going to be empty in a couple days if I'm on that bite. And so I actually took the time to label all my extras even in here. So I know that this is 1/4 ounce Mothman, right? And I have them all listed here. There's my 1/2 ounce Mothman. Every jig is in here. 1/2 ounce Stealth Craw. So all the colors I need, they're all listed, labeled. And again, if I'm on a road trip, this is coming with me. So I make sure I have backups and extras. And so I have a little box here. So I made a goal this year to really get back to some old baits from the past that still should work, but I just haven't thrown them. So I made a little box up of Rapalas, your original Rapalas, jointed Rapalas. I have some countdowns in here. Some of these were made in Finland. I took the time this winter to put new swivels on them. I put new hooks on them, so they're all ready to go. So when I get that urge to try the old original Rapala, this one was made in Finland, but all new hooks, new swivel, new O-rings, will be ready to go there. So just a nice little box, and I got more of these baits coming, and I didn't go too overboard, so I think I can fit them all in here. So a couple things that are new this year for me as far as storage. Gamakatsu makes some awesome boxes for storage, some awesome hard boxes. I am just starting to look into their whole product line, if you will. This one right here is perfect. This has the foam inserts, and I carry all of my hooks that I'm going to use right here. So extra hooks that I'm going to need, like on the water, like if you're throwing the crankbait and the hook starts to get dull, or you need to change some things up, or you need some top waters with some feathers on it. Everything is right here, ready to go. Some finesse, just everything. Everything is literally in this box. Now, this took me some time to put together, but I have it all right here, and everything's like I can visually see what I have and what I'm getting low on. And it does not take up a whole lot of space. And these hooks are not moving around, getting beat up in the boxes. They're all right here. So I also carry two of these smaller Bass Mafia boxes. And one's going to be for my drop shot weights, and one's going to be for my tube heads. So if I'm going to a new body of water where I may or may not drop shot, I don't know, but I know there's a potential. I don't want to carry my big drop shot box. I just want a little storage container like this that's going to have all my different sizes. Now this is all lead. I keep my tungsten drop shot weights in a separate bag, which I'll show you. But for instance, if I was on Lake Ontario for the week, there's no way I would get through with just a handful of these 5/8 ounce weights. I would bring my bigger bag. So I would actually bring my bigger bag of weights. I actually have a big plastic storage container that'll just have 200-300 5/8 ounce weights in the bag, and I'll just put that in the boat, especially when I'm up there guiding every day. I'll just be able to grab them and go. But again, I don't always want to carry that much weight in the boat, and so having a nice little storage box like this is perfect for me. Same thing with tube heads. If I'm going to go to St. Clair or Lake Erie for the weekend or the week, you know, I may get on a tube bite. That's not going to be enough tube heads to get me through, but at least I got a bunch here in this box that if I get into a tube bite, I can go and find every size from 1/8 ounce up to 1/2 ounce, some 3/4 in here even. Then of course I do like to use some inline spinners, so I got this nice little box here with all my inlines ready to go. So I got some rooster tails, some blue fox in here, Mr. Twister, Meps. They got all kinds of nice little inlines that I just carry in this little box. And then this one here, it's labeled Bass Flies. What could that be? So just got a little sneaky stuff. I shouldn't even be sharing this with you, but I will. I'll give you a little sneak peek. So we just got some different flies in here and some, I don't know, just use your imagination. So this little box comes with me when I'm chasing smallmouth. Now, I've been really impressed with this Spro box. It's a double-sided box that is going to come in handy, and I have a couple different situations where I'm using these. Of course, this one says spy bait. So all my spy baits that I'm going to use are right in here. And I have them all ready to go in this little tray system. They fit perfectly. I can put a ton of baits in here. And on the back we got Top Secret. So there's some goodies in here that I'll use from time to time. And it seems like every year I really try to make a focus on a particular brand or a company or a bait that really caught my attention in the off season. This year for me, for jerkbaits, Dual Realis. It's a jerkbait I haven't used a whole lot in the past, and so of course I have that big jerkbait box, but I also decided to get a bunch of different Dual Realis jerkbaits, and I put them in this box just so I can remember and know, hey, You said, for some reason, whether it be on one of my podcasts or somebody said, listen, Dual Realis makes a great jerkbait. Here's how to fish it. Here's the colors you need. Well, I got them, and I'm ready to go out there and try them this year. And so I keep them in the Spro box. And on the flip side, we have a little bit of carryover. We have some, I guess you can call them hybrid jerkbaits, if you will. Some jerkbait slash crankbaits in here. Edo shiners, thanks to my buddy Mike, and a few other different jerkbaits that I want to try. So this is kind of like my experimental box, if you will. So perhaps you're seeing some of these products in different storage containers I'm talking about. I'm going to do my best to put the links down in the description. So these bags, you're going to see me use a lot of these this year. I got them off of Amazon. They're relatively inexpensive and they're very hard. They seem really durable. The zipper, it's just a nice storage container. And so what I do, for instance, like this one here, I'm going to use for all my chatterbaits. And again, I can open this up and I can grab whatever. And I see here's a bag of 3/4 ounce jackhammers. So I have probably 2 or 3 colors that I use on a regular basis: green pumpkin, black and blue, straight white. So I have every type of chatterbait that I'm going to use on a regular basis in here. So a lot of 1/2 ounce, 3/8 ounce, everything is stored in here and labeled in these bags. And it's going to help prevent moisture, right? Because they really are triple bagged, if you will. I made a joke last year, I'm not going to make it this year, something about double masks, Dr. Fauci. I had to throw it in there. Why you got to go there, Travis? I did, sorry. But you're extra protected with this system. Great, now YouTube's going to shadow ban me for this video. Anyway, so we also have my spinnerbaits, same concept. All my spinnerbaits go in here, all separate, bagged, based on size and brand. And so when I'm on the boat, these are the 2 bags that I must have with me if I'm planning on throwing a spinnerbait or chatterbaits. Hello, it's SmallmouthCrush. I want to let you know about a company I'm really excited about, Great Lakes Finesse. Whether it be highly pressured waters, clear bodies of water, doesn't matter if it's smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, they have a great lineup of sneaky finesse baits, whether it be the snack craw, the drop worm, or this flat cat. What the heck is a flat cat? Hey, you guys know I love finesse fishing and catching giant smallmouth. So it was a natural fit when Great Lakes Finesse approached me to design a SmallmouthCrush approved bait. And this bait particular, the drop minnow, it's 2.75 inches. It has some amazing action, whether you're Ned rigging it, you're using a drop shot, or a technique I call hanging a minnow, Damiki rigging. Anytime you're fishing for suspended fish with a jig head, pair these 2 together, you're going to be able to catch those fish. It's an amazing technique. So the drop minnow comes in a variety of different colors. Of course, we got some meltdown or your chartreuse. We have a lot of natural colors as well. We have your whites, your smoke purples, your green pumpkin purple. Whatever the case may be, I think we really hit a home run when it comes to the colors that are available with this bait. So I really feel like this bait is perfectly streamlined. It's very compact. In fact, I'm sure we're playing some underwater video. You can just see the action of this bait when it's actually in the underwater environment. So hey, Great Lakes Finesse not only makes some great soft plastics, they do have some terminal tackle as well available. Head on over to greatlakesfinesse.com. Use my code SmallmouthCrush15, and you're going to save 15% off your order over at greatlakesfinesse.com. And as always, we'll see you on the water with Great Lakes Finesse. And so I have some smaller bags here, and these are all going to be like my Beast Coast open water sniper jigs that I'm going to fish and use. And I put like 5, 6 in a pack. So here's your 1/4 ounce sexy melons. And I just have all the colors and all the different sizes fit right here in this little bag. And to me, this just makes sense. I know a lot of people will put them in their 3700s, which I have, all my extras and ones I don't use on a regular basis. But since I know I go through a lot of these, I love having them right there. I just pop them in the boat, I'm ready to go. I have a miscellaneous jig, so a lot of Beast Coast in here as well. Some of their swim jigs, their finesse flipping jigs, things like that are located in this one. So these are all the terminal tackle, the jig heads, the hooks that I'm going to use quite a bit, pretty much every day I'm fishing. So I have drop shot, Texas rigged, and I have a lot of different hooks for that application. So that could be power drop shotting, or that could be finesse drop shotting, but I have all those hooks. If I want to do an open, nose hook a lot of my baits, all my drop shot hooks are going to be in this bag here. with some accessories. You know, I throw a lot of Ned rigs, and so I'm going to have a bunch of pro shrooms. Again, everything is labeled. So this bag says pro shrooms, but if I open it up, I know there's all my 1/5 size. And I just know when I'm getting low to just start grabbing them from the shelf over here and putting them back in this bag. What else we got? The Ned locks. I go through a lot of Ned locks. Okay, I love the Ned locks for the small, the TRD. And of course, 1/10 being a size I use a lot, chartreuse, straight black heads, whatever the case may be. So it's labeled 1/10, and here they all are. So I know exactly what I have. And I throw it back in my day box. And this is going to be in a compartment in the boat that's right there. I just open the lid, boom. I go through these all the time. These Power Finesse shroom heads on a guide trip, my gosh, you wouldn't believe how many of these we go through in a day. So they're always within arm's reach. And I certainly appreciate the fact too that it's all clear, see-through, so I know exactly what's in them. But again, labeling is really important. A lot of the A-rigs that I'll throw on a regular basis are in this one. So if you open it up, it's real simple. They're all bagged. So here's my Flash Mob Juniors, all in a bag. I probably don't need this many, but I didn't want to have them all scattered around. I just pretty much put them in this bag. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room. Uh-oh, we got a problem. I forgot to label this one. Good thing I'm making this video. Well, the individual ones are labeled. So I do a lot of fishing for suspended smallmouth, Damiki rigging, if you will, a lot of different soft plastic presentations, and so I run through a lot of different jig heads. There's a lot of different style jig heads. So here's a Z-Man. We have the Gamakatsus. Damiki itself makes some awesome heads. They got some hand pours in here. Machine. So I have all my heads ready to go. So of course, if I'm going on the Chesapeake Bay, chances are I'm not going to need this. But when I'm up on the Great Lakes, yeah, I'm definitely going to want to make sure I have this with me. So then I also carry a handful of these, and you'll see some bigger sizes for some of my soft baits. But this says swim bait on it. This one here says jigs. And so if we take a look at the jigs, this is going to be all my jig heads, terminal tackle. So if I pull this out, I have another bag that's labeled shaky heads. So all the different brands of shaky heads, they're all individually labeled and packed within this bag itself. So I can find everything I need. Here we got my Freedom heads ready to go. 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce. Everything's labeled. I got my pivot heads in here. So it's just a really nice way for me to store all this bulky stuff that I really don't like having them in a 3700 style box or any type of container. I really like this bag system for this application, at least for me. Not everyone's going to have those same views, I get it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this system so far. And then swim baits, of course I'm going to know this is going to have every style of swim bait head or hook that I'm going to need. So we open her up, I see some swim bait hooks. We have some owners, some Gamakatsu, some flashy owners in here, everything I need. Some swim bait heads. Got the Smeltinator in there. All kinds of stuff. My screw locks are in here. It's all right here in the bag that says swim bait. So I know if I'm going to throw a Big Easy or if I'm going to throw a 3.8, I know where the terminal tackle is located. This one's black. The other two were gray. This is black. I know that. I know because of the size. I only have 3 that are this size. Black's going to be my miscellaneous items. And that could be anything from, I don't know, let's see. So I just have a pack of miscellaneous, all kinds of different hooks that I may encounter. Here's some stuff for wacky rigging, Senkos, or fish and stick baits with my tools. I mean, here this is just everything and anything you'll ever need. From swivels to rattles to BBs to Nico weights, they're all right there. Eyeballs, split sinkers, really anything that doesn't have a particular home is going to go in this box, in this bag here. All right, here's my little pouch of tungsten weights. I'm also going to have my drop shot tungsten in here. So if I pull that bag out, that's actually a smaller bag within this bag, but they're all individually labeled. These are all my tungsten drop shot weights. I'm going to have my peg system, so bobber stoppers, plastic strips, everything's going to be in there. And then I just go through them. So here's all my 1/16 ounce weights, and they go all the way up, obviously, till probably 2 ounces in here. 3/16, I got them all. I got them all right here, and this is just the perfect way for me to keep my tungsten all organized. Now, of course, when I'm traveling, and let's say I know I'm going to throw a Carolina rig a lot, and I need a bunch of 1 ounce tungsten weights, well, I got them all right here. So this goes into the vehicle when I'm out on the road, because obviously I don't want to carry all this in my boat or in that little bag. All right, we're getting there, guys. I hope you're learning something. This is really, to me, this is what makes everything so easy and efficient for me in trying to stay organized. I have to have this stuff properly labeled. I know it's a lot of work. If you haven't done this to any of your tackle and you want to implement this system, you better put some time aside and hopefully enjoy it. I really enjoy working on my tackle and you know, thinking of ideas while I'm putting things away, and oh man, that would pair well with this bait, and you get the point. To me, it's a lot of fun. It's not really necessarily work, but at the same time, like I said, it does get time consuming. So for my hooks this year, I'm changing things up. I watched a YouTube video a couple months ago, and some guy was talking about an old CD case to hold your terminal tackle, and I thought to myself, well, that makes sense. Let's give that a try. And so I have all of my hooks right here, and they're all kind of put in here in a certain way where I know all my straight shank and extra wide gap and super line hooks are all right here, all different sizes in each pouch. We have some wacky rig hooks in here as well, and it just goes on, and everything is right there. Now if I can just put them back at the end of the day, or maybe at the end of the week. Let's do that. We'll do it weekly. All right, so remember I talked about some of the plastics I don't like to put in specific containers, but keep them in their own bags. I developed a system that I'm utilizing this year, and so I bought these larger pouches, and again, labeled it. So this says Maxcent SM, Maxcent Smallmouth Bass. Then we have a black one, because all the black is going to be specifically largemouth. So this one says largemouth Maxcent. And so if I'm going up on Lake Ontario, I'm going to make sure I got this bag with me in the boat. If I'm on the Chesapeake, not so much, don't really need it. So everything's in here. I got a lot of little generals. So we got the flat nose minnows, we got the flat worm in here, and I double, triple, quadruple bag them. So there's a color, and there's a bunch of packs in each individual pack. Same thing with their little Ned rigs. Green pumpkin, they're all bunched up in here. So when I buy 5 packs of black flatworms, I take all of them out of the package and put them into one, and then put them into this bag, and away they go with me. Same thing, largemouth, Maxcents. You're gonna find a lot of your larger worms in here. I'm gonna have the general and the 4 and 5 inch. So same deal, if I'm on a largemouth body of water, this one's coming with me. And what's nice about this is these have hooks, so you can kind of see I have them hanging back here. But obviously when they're in the boat, they're just gonna sit in a storage container. And we'll just pick another one, Z-Man Finesse. So again, I imagine this is all my small finesse baits. Sure is. It's gonna have, so there's my TRD ticklers. All the colors I like to use, all bagged up and ready to go. Finesse TRDs, and all the different colors I use. Now a lot of times I use specific colors a lot and go through. So for instance, I'm gonna use the Yoga Pants Z-Man TRD a ton. I'm gonna burn through a lot of those baits. And so what I would do, my Camus has a storage system where this tray actually sits in there. And of course I'm not really geared up for smallmouth at this time, more so for largemouth, but I know I'm gonna go through a bunch of giant TRDs and green pumpkin. So I triple bag them. A lot of these have some scent added to them, so they're marinating in here. But every style of bait that I'm gonna fish quite a bit in the next couple of weeks are gonna be located in this. So they're just easy to to grab and see. Big TRD black and blue. I guarantee there's some big TRD and green pumpkin ready to go in here. So I have jerk shads in this bag. I have my Gajo spirit shads in a particular color. So when I'm guiding, I'm going to use 2 or 3 specific colors the most, in hundreds of these, right? So I'm not going to take my Goby 3700 that's got a lot of different Goby baits in there and rely on just a little tray of those. A normal angler, sure, you can definitely get by a day or two with that. But when I'm guiding and we're on a bunch of fish, I'm just going to take plastic bags of these, or in this case, I have them all right here, and I'll stockpile them up and I just pull them out of here when they're in the boat. So Z-Man grubs and swims. We have some Maxent miscellaneous in here. So this nifty little guy here is made by Z-Man, and it's an amazing way to store your plastics. I store all my Z-Man baits, my miscellaneous stuff that I might not use every day, but when I get the urge or the idea or the right situation, I'm gonna want to make sure I have them. So my TRD bugs, my minnows, I mean just the goats with all the different colors. Everything is in here. Pretty much every bait that Z-Man makes, at least 1 or 2 packs is in this box right here. All right, where else do we gotta go? We covered a lot. Again, there's some miscellaneous stuff. So my gulp is all gonna go in this, and they're all doubled up in the liquid gulp scent, ready to go. I also have a bunch of these Plano storage containers with a lot of baits marinating as we speak, and I'll grab these and put them in a little bag to take with me on the water. So for my leader material, I like to keep all my line right here in this Plano box, and I also have what we call these spool mates, which keep the line from coming off the reel or coming off the spool and making a big mess. And then I have it labeled 6, 8, 10, 12, and an 8, and each one's specific. So I'm experimenting a little bit this year. You guys know I love the Bass Pro Shops 100% fluorocarbon for my leader, but I went with Seagar's Tatsu and a few other Abrazex, just experimenting this year with those leader materials. And what I also do in here is I also put a little bobber stopper. And so if I take out some line and cut and use it, tie it on to my braid, and then cut it there, that line can't go back into this box either. So this really is the perfect setup for storing your line. But I also carry this. I don't use these holes. For one, they're too big. The line's just gonna go back inside. I don't know the best way to manage this, but I do like the fact that I can put individual spools in here. And so here we have some 14-pound fluoro. I have every line size that I'm gonna need. I do have some mono in here. I have some braid as well in case I need to go through. This is just in an emergency on the water. If I'm casting crankbait with 12-pound Yozuri and for some reason, you know, I get a major backlash and I just wreck the whole spool, I can easily spool up on the water with this. And this doesn't take up a whole bunch of room, yet I have all the line I need right here in this bag. So today's not the day for me to show you how I store this stuff in the boat and the truck, but I do want to make a video about that. I think this video is going to be a little bit longer than I expected, and so what I'm going to do is actually have a part 2 to this, how I take things, tackle and equipment on the road and then store it in my bass boat. But before we end this video, you know, we covered a lot here. I think you guys get the idea. It's all about experimenting and finding what works for you. So before we wrap this video up, I do want to talk about this pegboard setup here in the garage. You're going to notice I have all kinds of different plastics that I use on a regular basis. So for instance, chigger craws. I'm going to have a bunch of 3 and 4 inch chigger craws in green pumpkin, black and blues, colors that I use quite a bit. Same thing with sweet beavers, reaction elevations, Senkos, whether it be twin tail grubs, the Zacco, just pretty much everything I use. Missile baits, baby destroyer, baby D-bombs. We got all kinds of miscellaneous stuff, grubs, just specific plastics that I'll use on specific bodies of water. And of course we got the wall full of Z-Man products that we'll definitely be going through a lot of this year. All my swim baits, my Kitex extra hard baits will be up there, Rapalas. So I pretty much have an idea where everything is located on this wall, and I can really keep track of my inventory. Now you'll see some big storage boxes here. I mean, I can break one of them out for you, but one's probably gonna have all my goby baits. Another one's gonna have all my tubes. And so it's just a big bulk bin of pretty much everything. Big worms. You name it, it's probably there. Now, if we went down the basement, you're gonna find about another 30 of those bins full of tackle. And I just haven't gotten to that part yet, okay? I probably have things down there that I don't even, it's scary. It's scary. Man, we covered a lot in this video. Hopefully it's gonna give you some ideas, even if it's just one thing. You know, hey, that looks like a great way to store my Z-Man baits, or that's a killer way to store your tungsten. You know, take bits and pieces of this, implement this into your system, and we are going to do a part 2. I'm going to show you how I kind of travel with all this stuff and keep track of all this inventory throughout the year. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We do a lot of great fishing videos, great fishing content. I do a lot of fishing tournaments, practice, how-tos. Of course, we have our weekly live show. We have a lot of great guests from all over the country in the fishing industry that come on that. It gets a little crazy. Sometimes it goes into the wee hours of the morning, but it's a great time. We get to interact with all the viewers and fans on that live as well, answer as many questions as we can, and it's always a great time with my co-host, Epic Eric. I'm ready to put these systems into place and get out there and start catching some fish. So we are going to have a bunch of great content moving forward for this season as well. And as always, guys, until next time, we'll see you on the water.